So, hi everybody, we're back and we had some drinks because it's very hot here in Phuket. And again, we talked to Professor Kolumazli
Thank
and
you.
Professor Karel. And now I'd like to talk to ask Dr. Florian about how important it is to have such a relevant professor that has been doing research for so long and to be honored because you always say that honoring and giving star power to scientists is the main reason for the existence, the whole existence of SIPS and of Floating Star Outreach.
Well, Professor Kolomas is star of this year.
Mm-hmm.
He is 2022 recipient of Ray International Sustainability Award for his work on recycling, mainly organic materials, but not only that. So he is 82, 81, 82 years old. 85.
85. He looks
Yes,
82, but he's
wow.
85. He's in good shape.
For me, it always has been when in 2023 constant. That is 82 as in my mind. So 85 years old, still working, still making cooperation projects, still finding niches that where his group can work. So it speaks by itself. I don't even need to say anything. So the star, this is vice versa. This is vice versa. We honor him for his contribution in the science and technology. So probably should ask him first how he feels as a recipient of this award.
How do you feel about
about what does mean how do you feel?
Yes.
Yes. I am very happy that I have the opportunity to meet with during conference which we attended to meet some very nice people to create new cooperations and to speak about the history when we solved the same or similar problems and to have to exchange experiences, theoretical, practical, and applications. And it was very nice to meet the people which make the world better, to keep sustainable level, to save the major sources of energies and metals and another resources and problems which is necessary to use to recycling the waste because waste is a relative problem. Then I present my lecture. This is historical. The, the, the term of waste is linked to the time of its generation. I give some historical example. This uranium ore, it was almost outstanding dice stock for the technical personnel after raffination. And the rest was stored on the hill. And 1 ton of this waste was given Mariki Skodowska, and she discovered radium polonium just now. This is very important element in the energy, in the application of the medicine and so on and so on. Yes, that is relative for this. And the main task for the chemical, for the process engineering to realize project technology without any waste. It must be recycled. For example,
Questions?
Yes.
Just a few.
Yes.
This is the value for him. This is the value of the SIPS he's speaking about.
Yes.
And really, this is a very good definition why SIPS is so important. for Professor
Yes,
Kolomowski.
exactly.
But what do we want to ask? How you feel that you had the award?
Your emotion, how was
How
Yes.
how you feel getting an award?
Yeah, okay. It is
Frey
very
International
surprise
Sustainability
for
Award.
me.
it was a
But
surprise.
I have no idea how to do what I am happy and surprised.
Yeah.
This is per- this is a reward, which is on the other hand it is perfect, but it's necessary to give me responsible to follow me and to will go on this work which brings which interests me, of course. I hope it brings the success, what the solution, what is the problem, not only me, you, but this general problem of to keep the sustainable level.
Very good.
This conference is based on the keep sustainable level in the whole world. And for this, I'm very happy that I am only small part of this world, which is outstanding reward.
Small part for a valuable one. That's why you got the award. I know the modesty, but 85 years old, working and still in the same field. It's a big contribution.
Now, Professor Barinova,
Yeah,
this is what
she is a witness of his work because she has worked with him long time.
Exactly, and you came in a very big group. I think it was the largest group.
Largest group
Was from Thomas Bata University,
Exactly.
right? You had 10
from
10
one single department.
Yeah, from one single department you had 10
We are
people.
9 people,
9 people.
and with our co-chair and partner from Romania, Dr. Carmen Gaido, we are 10. So,
And how Professor Kolomaznik is your mentor? Yes. What is the emotion? What is the feeling you have of having your mentor? I mean, you followed his career and his achievements for a long time, very closely from him. Yes, and you see him being awarded, and you have this big team coming with you. How was what was the involvement of the team? How did the team feel? Besides this, we're going to later SIPS of science, not today. We must put everybody together, the 10 together.
In that group.
yes.
Yeah, but how was this emotion? How was the feeling between the group?
The feeling was, I would say, excited. One of my colleagues, even she was moved to tears. Also because I think it's something different to see it on TV, see it somewhere on the internet or something, and to be live, to feel the whole event from A to Z, to have your own presentation, to talk to the people, and after that you see the big ceremony which you have seen only like some parts what I showed them from the previous SIPS, and now they were there, they were in Thailand, they were together, and I think to see Professor Kolomaznik on stage was amazing.
And this is one very important
And
thing.
mostly deserved.
Yeah, mostly deserved for sure. One of the most deserved so far, ever, for sure. Now, one thing that that is important to highlight here is that she said, one thing is to see it online, to see it on television, to be more direct, to see a way, and the other thing is to be present to the thing. And SIPS focus a lot on present events, right? And this, what is the importance of Dr. Florian having this? You don't stimulate. This year we even had some one or another event on Zoom because of strict restrictions for COVID yet, yes? But in China. So some participants from China ended up being here.
No,
through Zoom.
Through Zoom.
Through Zoom, yes. So it was the only way of having them here was through Zoom. So it was an exception.
There is an exception.
And different times demand different solutions, of course. But it's not the spirit. The spirit is to be present.
The DNA in SIPS.
Yeah, this is that's what she said.
What Dr. Barinova said. It is in face-to-face meetings, in physical meetings, in-person meetings.
What is the importance
That's
of
why.
this?
Oh, it's a huge difference between doing it in Zoom and doing it virtually and being present. The informal communications, informal discussions they are much more valuable compared to any presentation in Zoom. They do not compare. Do not compare because in-person interaction, you can still do interaction in Zoom. The issue is that distance, different time zones. For example, we're obliged to put all those Zooms to adapt to their time zones. So this is a completely different work. The efficiency of on-site, in-person, physical presence does not compare with any virtual meeting, and that's why SIPS has been always, so successful. Our level of interaction, networking, it is the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have dinners and shows every night.
Mm-hmm.
People do not give a lecture and go to the hotel room and then look away what they're going to do.
You have everything in the same day.
Everything is in the same slide. Dinners going on, there are shows going on. People get to know each other. People become friends. There is a bridge between cultures, bridge between field of science, bridge between anything that you name it, and this makes very easy to create cooperation culture.
I want today, for the ones who don't know, watching us, the conference ended 2 days ago. Some people are staying some more days at the hotel, but some people, like Professor Kolomasnik and Professor Varinova, are checking out the hotel because they're going to different locations. So I want you to leave your final considerations because you have to.
They are their turn.
It's their turn.
They stayed about a week, correct?
You stayed a week, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's time to go to PP Island. I think. Now, where are you going now?
Today only home.
Home. You're going home. Okay.
Yesterday the
They
video.
were
Yes.
at PP Island.
They were at PP Island. And you're watching this, we're mentioning PP Island, James Bond Island, and other places. We're going to have the next SIPS of Sciences, for the next 2 months probably. We're going to be showing a lot of what happened in SIPS. Not only in terms of Paradise, but especially in terms of academic works that have been presented. And I would like to invite everybody in order to know how to watch this in the program, just subscribe to the channel here. Hit that bell that will notify you when we have a new show coming on, and watch, because it's very important that you know what has happened to know what's coming on for the next years. Next year, it's either
Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, magnificent resort like here, or in Panama, magnificent resort like here. We have not decided yet because we are
but it's a
searching.
magnificent resort. So doesn't matter where it's going to be like
we
here.
strive hard to get the lowest price for science and engineering in order to make them. And Professor Kolomasnik and Dr. Barinova are invited to our recycling symposium next year. Next year.
He liked it. He liked
For
it.
sure,
Yeah.
I hope it, of course it will be fine online for me because it's long.
No, but
It's the same. This is longer than that.
yes.
It's longer.
It's longer.
It's longer. So you are invited, and also
Well, thank you.
Uh,
But
I am
don't know
proposing.
if I will believe.
Now, of course, let's your final considerations because you have to go.
We're just to that house. So he is invited, and I am appointing Dr. Barinova to be co-chair of the recycling symposium.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Hello.
First hand.
Great man.
First hand, guys.
That's the news.
That's I did not even me knew about it. I think not even her. She looked surprised.
No,
Yeah.
yes. I'm doing live.
Yes.
I'll do my best next
Very
year.
good.
So Professor, really, it's our honor to have you with us. It's our honor to have you with us. Continue your work.
I'm too honored that you feel.
Continue. Continue.
It's the same to me for you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Perfect.
85 is young. Okay? Today is young. And you remember,
Thank you.
with Professor Yoshikawa, I have an appointment
You know, 100.
in 25 of August 2100 22 in 100 years from now.
Okay,
We have an appointment in Osaka in the same restaurant.
We will join.
Very good. Very good.
About the age, I hope that you remember what I said. I know the very old people that have maybe 30, but I know very young people. They are maybe 60, 70 and more.
Yes.
It depends on the how to
Exactly,
feel
how
it.
you see it.
Yes,
How to
exactly.
feel it.
Yeah, how you feel and how you see it. So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
That's it. That's it.
So you are invited. We will make sure that we find the proper proper channel and proper ways in order for you to participate. And
thank you very, thank you very much.
Nova will be co-chairing anyway.
Yes.
I have no choice.
You have no choice.
She accepted live on television.
Yeah, we have it. We have a proof here. If you say no, it's there. Well, thank you very much, Professor Lumaznik, and thank you very much, Professor Barinova. And I'm hoping to see you very soon here at SIPS of Science. And it was a pleasure meeting you in person, both of you. And as we said, this is a special SIPS of Science. Guests come and go. I'm going to have Dr. Florian accompany our guests outside.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we're giving some information. You bring in some more guests.
Sure. They are waiting there.
Okay.
They are waiting there.
Very good. So thank you very much.
So you can keep those
Yes.
with some more.
Yes, I'm going
when
to
I come
be
back.
speaking a little bit about the next steps. Here at, as I said, watch your step on the way up, on the way out. Be careful. Very good. Well, as I said, we're broadcasting here from the Hilton Phuket Arcadia. I've got just behind me this beautiful seashore of Phuket. And this is one of the characteristics of SIPS, in the Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit and Exhibition. Sustainability through science and technology. We are always heading to the best places. And this is a special broadcast, as I said. We usually have it online with multiple guests, and we talk about what will be available on next SIPS. But since this year we did something different, we are on site broadcasting live. Yes, the next episodes are going to bring to you what this SIPS was, because there are certain standards that are to be followed. For example, you have always every evening you have a great activity. Yes, and the purpose of that is to integrate people. So on the first day we have like a welcome dinner. The second day we had a dinner with everybody and a discussion panel with some of the greatest scientists in the world. Yes, and in the last night we had a gala. This is the philosophy of SIPS. Yes, and during the day we start with plenary sections that have a general approach, and there we're going to have some of the anchors, let's call like that, speakers like the Nobel laureates. Yes, this year SIPS reached a very impressive mark: 9 Nobel laureates in the event, and this was the biggest participation of Nobel laureates in an event. Exception made to the Nobel Prize awards night, yes, in Stockholm, with the Royal Academy of Science, Royal Swedish Academy of Science, yes. And besides that you have many more than 9, of course. Most Nobel Prize Nobel laureates participate in the event, yes, with prestige to the well, Dr. Flores is telling me that the guests are coming pretty soon, but we are saying, but as I said, no other scientific event in the world counts on 9 different Nobel laureates. And this makes something very special. And I'm going to thank especially, I'm going to post later, especially to the participation of this year's laureates. As a big fan of all of them, yes, for the work they've done so far to make this world a better place. I had the opportunity of having some close chats with some of them, and I would like to thank especially Professor Don Shetman from and also Professor Didier Queloz and then Professor Richard Roberts. These three because I had the opportunity of having like long chats with them. Yes, and it was fantastic. And this I can tell you, I'm not a scientist. Yes, I'm a journalist. Yes, I'm and the human. I mean the human side of society. Not that this. Not, I mean humanities. Yes, not in the scientific world. I mean humanities, and this interaction between science and humanities is amazing. So not. I imagine that for a scientist it might be impressive to be among these references as a guideline for their careers because but even for non-scientists like myself, yes, I've had some of the best conversations ever for the past few days. For example, I had an opportunity of discussing, not really discussing, but learning a lot about astrophysics, yes, with 2019 Nobel laureate, yes, in physics, Professor Didier Queloz from Switzerland. And I talked to him for like 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, standing on a hall. And he was able to provide me with a private class about astrophysics. And I made him a question, asked him a question, and he allowed me to answer it, to speak about it. Unfortunately, it hasn't been recorded. But I asked him about life in other planets, for example. Yes? And for 10 or 15 minutes, he spoke about the scientific approach of life in other planets. Yes, I remember exactly talking. He said, well, if you're thinking about what we call intelligent life, we're not approaching it. Yes, but science has to be objective. Yes, so if we think about a complex life, so, and which standards we use for a complex life form, yeah, the complex life form, the complexity of its biochemical organization. Yes, so multi cells, yes, and multi organs and all that. And he came to me and said, statistically, there are thousands of billions of stars in our galaxy, and in the universe, thousands of billions of galaxies in the universe. So this potentially makes, I mean, impossible not to consider a high probability of life form, existing life forms in other planets. Yes. So out there, there must be some planets that have the ideal conditions for life, like we have on Earth. Yes, the right distance from a star, the right magnetic field that will keep the radiation coming in, the right atmosphere, the and so many other things. Yes, and statistically, it makes possible. And I mean, we shouldn't expect little green men walking around, but listening to an astrophysics who discovered, yes, through science and through physical calculations to physics calculations, a planet, yes, and has named a asteroid, for example. I mean, this is life changing. It was one of the best experiences I've had so far. And also learning, for example, talking to Professor Richard Roberts and about the benefits and about the importance, more than the benefits, the importance of genetic modified organisms, especially for the production of food. Yes, this mystifies a lot of what we see uh, on what we see around on the media and in many aspects of our modern life, like trying to demonize a certain approach on the production of food, for example. And this seems quite interesting that having such a relevant scientist, such a relevant person speaking about the importance of genetically modified food organisms, yes, to produce food, yes. If we think that 95% of the the food produced in the world is genetically modified in a way or another, yes, it keeps us thinking, yes. Organic farming can only represent less than 5% of all food in the all the food in the world, yes, and that's not enough to have to feed the whole population of the world. So in theory, it might be better. We're not saying we're against organic plantations. It's very important, but we cannot give up science and technology in the production of food. Otherwise, we're going to have a very strong hunger strike in the world, and we do not want that. That's not sustainable. And that's one of the things I like about SIPS. This scientific approach. I had the opportunity of presenting, of talking about sustainability in one of the on the second day. Yes, I had the opportunity of opening the second day of plenaries, and for me it was a great opportunity of speaking to a very selected public, yes, in the plenaries, to demonstrate how this approach on sustainability, introduced by the Flogen Sustainability Framework, can make a difference to the world. After all, we are talking about three very objective criteria, yes, and based upon the actions of three very objectively defined players. Yes. So we are having, as you've heard before, on one side we have environmental protection together with human development and economic growth. I mean, these three aspects, these three criteria are equally important. You cannot have sustainability if you don't reach the three of them in a balanced way. So it is important, it is relevant that we have environmental protection, that we have economic growth, and also human development. Yes, if you have human development and environmental program, but you don't generate economic growth, it's not going to be sustainable. If you have economic growth and human development, but you kill the environment, you have no environment left, it's not sustainable. And if you have environmental protection and economic growth, but it doesn't bring a relevant change to society, yes, and you have no human development that can be translated into better services, into better education, health conditions, better nutrition. I mean, nothing of this matters. So this three criteria together, yes, are fundamental, and this uh, has to be supported by three very clear players. Yes, science and technology, education, civil society, and also governance. Yes, and we're talking about governance. We're referring specifically to government officials, and also the leading corporations in the world. Yes, so governance and management, and this management we are talking about corporations, and SIPS represents all this because here at SIPS you have works that are presented on environmental protection. You have works that are presented by government officials, by science and technology. We have a lot of we have the academia together here. Yes, we have civil society here. So all parameters, all criteria are indeed supported by the players. Yes, and we've been facing some of these criteria is being officially adopted. For example, earlier this year, in February, Dr. Florian Congali went to the United Nations in Geneva to present his sustainability framework. It was developed in 2016 to stand for it in the United Nations opening ceremony for a conference for the International Year of Glass. And for the first time, scientists were around presenting solutions. Yes. So all this confusion that exists about criteria and players and definitions that are not more than subjective, yes, this cannot really help society. Yes, we do need to be, in order to be sustainable, we do need objective parameters that can be followed. When it becomes subjective, it starts being complicated, and you have the political actions that may deviate from the correct course. Well, stand there. I will ask you guys to wait a little bit longer, and meanwhile, Dr. Florian, can you? Oh, okay. Oh, hello.
Hello,
Have a seat
how are
with me
you?
here. Very well. Come, Dr. Florian. Do we have another guest?
No.
Wait.
My girlfriend didn't make it.
Oh, Angelina Jolie is not here.
No. We are in a kind of fight.
Just a second. Just a second here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, as I said, this is a special SIPS of science.
I
We
have
come
to ask
and
you
go.
a
We have
question
new
before
guests.
we start.
Yes, go ahead.
How do you manage to have always your batteries charged?
Well,
100% charged.
This
Every
is
time I meet
sustainability.
you online, live, you are
Yeah.
always very good.
this is sustainability. This is one of the advantages of sustainability. I was talking to Dr. Fur about this, and I learned. I heard this from Professor
Energizing.
Dan Shetman. If you, it wasn't. He was quoting Confucius, but if you are happy with what you do, you don't have
Yes.
to work one single day in your life.
Exactly.
And I've never been so happy as a journalist, being with the greatest, some of the greatest minds in the world.
Yes. It's
And
very good.
among them, I have here Professor Harshid Yazami. I'm a big fan. I had the opportunity of talking to you online, and now finally, I see you face to face because it's a different environment,
Absolutely.
face to
Totally
face, right?
different.
And this is what we always say: online is good, because I mean, it has its advantages.
Yeah, of course. But
I mean, for the last year, I've interviewed almost 100 scientists, and it wouldn't be able to do so, to do otherwise if not online. But meeting them as I meet Professor Rashid Yazami here, yes, face to face, I look into his eyes, I shake his hand, I have a drink with him.
yes.
Yes, this is priceless. So thank you very much.
I thank you very much because it's a reciprocal, because we need to have people like you
Oh, thank you
to
very much.
communicate with the other side of the world, okay? So
Wow.
that's important.
Well, it's a very important mission, and I thank Dr. Florian very much for trusting me to this mission, because I know how relevant it is to bring science into society. And first, I would like to congratulate you.
Thank you so
You are
much.
one of our stars this year, right, Dr. Florian? I would like to talk about Professor Yazami, about his award, and then I would ask him to. We'll go on with it. Explain to us.
Well, he is a recipient of this year of a new award that follows the name of Nobel laureate in chemistry, but actually it is basically
If you could speak up a little bit, just.
it is basically energy.
Uh-huh.
It is Whittingham International Energy Award.
Uh-huh.
So it's a new award, and Professor Yazami is the first one a recipient of this award.
Very good. And what's the emotion of being the first one to receive award?
Fortunately, I have a strong heart. So
Yes.
I didn't have heart attack. It was a surprise to me
Uh-huh.
because to see such brilliant scientist like Stanley Whittingham, who is a colleague of mine. We met, I mean, in the mid '80s. I know him since then, and he's very smart, very brilliant man. Came with the concept of intercalation materials that make batteries rechargeable. All right. So yeah, I mean, it's a big honor, of course. And beyond me, I can tell you the reaction of people in Morocco just incredible, crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like more than 6,000 people. They saw it, they like it, they share it with
So
others. And so
if you're in Morocco watching us, just put a thumbs up on this video.
Well, sorry.
Subscribe to the channel. Yes, because we're going to have him many more times during the year.
Yes.
Besides him, great stars like him, great stars of science.
Thank
Sorry
you so
to
much.
interrupt.
Okay, no problem.
But I had
no
to do
problem.
my merchandise.
Of course. But I feel sorry for Florian because yesterday we won. Morocco won against Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are good friends, but still, I mean, it's football, it's sport. We won 2-1.
World Cup.
The World Cup.
Canada lost to Morocco.
He doesn't care much, but I mean, for me, I have been playing football since age 5.
And I hope we see each other in the final match.
Yes.
It would be a
Brazil,
dream.
Morocco, Brazil.
Morocco.
It
would be a dream,
That
right?
would be a dream. Oh,
Yes.
fantastic. Who knows?
You qualified, right?
Yes, now we qualified number 1.
Number
in
one.
our DF group. We're
Yes.
number 1. Yes, 7 points.
Yeah, but we are not speaking for the stars of
Yes.
football.
Yes.
Let's talk about
Okay.
science.
Let's talk about the stars of science,
Yes.
not the stars
Yes.
of football.
Yeah, so again, in my just speech when I received the award, I highlight the role of Florian in this SIPS meetings, and it's incredible. At first my friend Alain Tressot from Bordeaux, who was used to attend this, he just nominated me, and Florian invited me, which was a big honor. But I had no idea what is SIPS. This is the first time. And I said, "Well, my gosh, there are 11 or some more like sessions, parallel session, or symposia, international symposia on the name of highly recognized scientists and so on." Anyway, it went very well. It was a little bit difficult because of time running and many conflicts with other meetings, on batteries. So anyway, we have a good group of speakers who attended the Yazami International Symposium on batteries and sustainable, energy and so on. And then came the surprise the next day, with the award. And anyway, the thing is that somehow Morocco is the country where I was born, and then I traveled the world. So I went to France. All my career was in France, actually, with the CNRS, and then CNRS allowed me to travel. So I spent 2 years in Kyoto, Japan. Then come back to France 10 years, went to California Institute of Technology. I worked with NASA, and I had the honor actually to test the batteries that went to Mars. In 2005, there was a Spirit and Opportunity, the robot, landed off Mars, and then they did all the work that they had to do, except my colleagues from NASA, they calculated how long the batteries will last. They said 4 months, no longer. 10 years later, they are still working.
Wow, so congratulations.
It's incredible. Yes.
And this is something, sometimes, Dr. Florian, science overcomes expectations.
Yes.
Yes.
That happens all the time.
Yes.
So, actually, application of the different theories and in practice. So always overcome expectations. Not always, but most of the time.
Most of the time. This is something frequent, overcoming expectations. It is.
Well, if the technology is good, then what do you expect?
Yes.
I see.
And also, probably, it's a learning experience also for NASA.
I see.
Because what they didn't expect is how these solar panels, who catch the energy from sun and convert it to charge the batteries, how this solar panel will be clean enough to get this efficiency. And they were clean. And the reason why, some merchants, every night they go and they clean the windows. So they lost 10 years.
Yeah, I was talking here about Professor Kelos in astrophysics, and he talks about
Martians.
Maybe there's a relation.
Well, anyway,
between astrophysics and the Martians cleaning the window.
The window.
Don't let
of
Professor
the
Kelos hear that.
Anyway, it was a good surprise.
Very good.
Now what happens is that this I mean, how to say, journey on science,
Mhm.
infinite, you know. So after I left Caltech in 2010,
Mhm.
because at 2 years before, President George W. Bush announced that he will cut all the funds on federal funds on research on batteries
Mhm.
and move everything to hydrogen.
Mhm.
So I said, sorry, I have to leave because I still think that there are lots of things to do, and I don't want a politician to decide what I do as a scientist. So I left to Singapore and I started another venture there. I mean, I was a chair professor with the Nanyang Technology University, the head of the energy storage programs. It was an honor, you know, being in this wonderful school, NTU, and the president was here. Suresh came, and then I realized that actually I'm taking every year I'm older 1 year. It's obvious, but I have 180 patents, and if these patents do not go to the market, it's too bad.
And this is one thing that we have here: getting patents in the market, right?
Yes,
Because
exactly.
we always talk about this, that most scientific achievement stays on a
Yes,
shelf of
yeah,
a library
sure.
in the
Yes,
academia, in the
yes.
university.
In
journals.
So somehow, because I travel a lot,
Mhm.
I am able to speak 6 languages,
Mhm.
but I learned a seventh language, which is the language you need to use talking to investors. Totally different. They are totally different environments. You know, they don't care much about science and so on. They want business.
Of
They
course.
want to have return on investment.
Mhm.
So you don't want to tell them this is I found something exceptional. So they don't care how much money can you make from this. What is the market and so on. I learned this. It
And
took
this
me
is
years.
sustainability, right?
It took me years to speak and convince, and then, fortunately, in 2007, we raised, my company in Caltech raised $20 million, which was the historical record of any startup company in Caltech.
Interesting.
Caltech more than 100 years old. Okay,
Mhm.
so I was like said no, I have to pay like bodyguards now. Okay. But anyway, just to tell you, it's I learned actually the entrepreneurship. And then in Singapore, I brought my company that's called now KVI Holdings,
Mhm.
and we are working on this to prepare for the next generation of batteries,
Very good.
smart batteries, making them safer and last longer, and for environment, for sustainability, and so on. It's a key problem. I mean,
Very good.
always to have this combination between fundamental science and applied science, and this you have to do these bridges. You have to
Beautiful.
understand both.
Beautiful.
And as a matter of fact, the honor came from the president of Caltech, who wrote me a letter beginning this year, said, Dr. Yazami, we miss you. Why don't you come back? So I said, of course. So now I have like a new appointment with Caltech as a visiting scholar. And I will go next, in 2
Very
weeks,
good.
we'll go
Very
to
good.
California.
Congratulations.
And yes, thank you so much. And this is where I love what I do. Like you said, when you love what you do, you don't count.
don't have to work, yeah.
You don't age much. So I am meeting with very brilliant professor Bill Goddard, who is the I would say
but just we're here now. We're speaking for you, not for the others.
Yes, yes.
for
The
what?
center now it is you. The start is
Yeah,
you.
okay,
Yes.
but I know, but
Okay.
to tell you, I'm part of a team. That's important.
Yes,
And you
yeah,
have to have like different approaches.
I
I'm a
see.
material scientist. He is a theoretician, and he does calculation. He will develop a battery from the computer and tell you this is the material that can work. Can you
Interesting.
imagine this? This is what we are
And
doing.
this is part of what
Yes.
you always say, the
So,
integration of
yes.
fields, right?
Exactly. Interconnectivity, interfecundation, we call it.
That's the idea of the focus of
That's
SIPS.
SIPS. That's SIPS.
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 Okay.
That's the whole purpose of SIPS.
So again, SIPS this year, I learned a lot because I listened to all these plenary lectures from professor from medicine, from biology, from Knox and everything. Wow, this is opening mind. You
Good.
say how these cells we produce electricity in our body. This is how we can hear, we can think, and so on. It's all about electrical fluxes. It means that we have micro batteries inside our brain. Okay, so I have been approached during this meeting by a professor who said, Rashid, I would like to work with you on artificial hearts. We need a battery. We need some kind of battery. I said, hey, this is my business card. Let's work together on this.
And this is SIPS.
If we can save lives, that's fantastic. I would not have met this professor without SIPS.
So just to highlight this, we can save lives.
Yes, absolutely. Complementary scientific research, me in batteries, he in mechanicals, micromechanics, to build a new heart to save lives.
So this is the spirit of SIPS. SIPS saves lives.
Correct.
We make a better world.
Exactly.
Through science and technology.
Absolutely.
And from Phuket, from Hilton, Phuket, Arcadia, since I have a plane to catch in 2 hours, no, 3 hours, I think I have a plane to catch. I'm saying goodbye to everybody. Yeah. What, I have to leave by 2? Yeah. Can I make it to the airport? So we still have some time here.
Okay.
But I would like to thank Professor Yazami.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. And,
do you want to have any final considerations?
Just okay. Just I asked the question how I feel, and what the other question would be how you quantify SIPS compared to other conferences you attended?
Oh, this is great.
What is the
Yeah.
advantage and what are
well, this is unusual in my career. The first time I attend this kind of multidisciplinary at the high level conference. The concept is just great. The genius.
Well, here's the man.
To get the people coming from this high level together to this place and have people interact and so on during events. It's just unique. I think this is an example. But to tell you, I really insist. I would like you to think about having this meeting in Morocco. Because you haven't been to Africa.
I would love to go to Morocco.
Yes, you see, and you are welcome,
sure.
Florian. People waiting for you. Anytime, let me know. I will be by the mid of January this year and next year in Morocco and in March. So think about it. We want to.
Sure. We are open.
Yeah.
We are
okay,
open.
very good.
Now, Dr. Florian, I have one question about something he said right now that is very relevant in my opinion. SIPS integrates fields. Integrating fields makes possible to generate, like you said, a heart surgery with a battery. Yes. Then a person even in academia, he won't maybe think, oh, I can integrate heart surgery with.
Well, because
when did you realize?
I have a pretty good idea who asked him to work with him.
No.
Yeah, because that person is me who I invited. And his specialty is developing new technologies. When the heart is at the end of his life, and he keeps pumping it. But he used materials, he used everything.
Exactly.
And then he found that Professor Yazami can help to him with kind of battery. So this is from France, I guess. So this is SIPS.
Now I ask you a question. How do you feel as an interpreter? Because another day I heard, and let me just confirm. Who it was? I'm going to remember who said, because we were in a group. I don't want to be unfair, but somebody said we were on a chit chat during the coffee break, and he said Florian discovered the Columbus egg. For the people who don't know Columbus egg, Christopher Columbus went to the Americas in 1492 and discovered the Americas.
Yes.
In the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Yes. When he went back, Queen Isabel had a big dinner. Yes, like to thank him, and somebody said, going to America, discovering America is easy. Anybody could have done it.
Yes.
Because it's just going there.
Once you discover, it becomes obvious for everybody.
Then Columbus gave him a hard-boiled egg and said, could you have this egg stand? The guy tried. The guy did, and nothing of the egg didn't stand. Didn't stay still. Then Columbus got the egg and did like this, in the back.
Yes.
And then it stood still. Like, this is easy.
Yes.
And said, after you know how to do it, it's easy.
Of course.
And the question is,
Who
Christopher Columbus.
Who mentioned Christopher Columbus? I forgot.
No, the guy said, this is Columbus. Like, I don't remember it also. Somebody said, I'm going to remember. Yes, before we finish. But Professor Abatori, come here. Have a seat with us. You can have a seat with us.
Oui, attention. Voilà.
Yeah, attention,
Voilà.
s'il vous plaît.
Yeah, we can continue in French.
Yeah, no, my French is
Canadian,
terrible.
you speak French.
No,
so
my French is terrible. I only know dirty words in French, so and I don't think it's
No, don't say no.
Yeah.
He gave beautiful conference a year ago in French.
In French?
Yes.
Wow.
Très bien.
Well, Professor Jean-Marie Dubois, thank you very much for being with us. As I said, this is a special SIPS. We don't usually have it, but here we have guests coming in, a new format because we are here in this beautiful paradise, Phuket. And even if I miss the plane, I'll be very glad to be missing the plane. Don't worry about this. But
We're speaking about Columbus.
we were
Yes,
speaking
yes,
about.
yes.
Look, I don't want to make a mistake, but probably, yes, it was in the Japanese group, but I don't remember exactly because I talked to so many people. But this called my attention. But I will remember. But they said this is like Christopher Columbus because Dr. Florian, after people say, "Oh, this format is easy," many people are trying to copy this format. Yeah, but
Not only that, it's not easy to do.
it's not easy. It's not easy. It's something that when you see. What was your inspiration of putting? Because usually physics stays with physics,
Yes.
chemistry with chemistry, biology with biology. You put everybody together. Why and how?
Well, it comes from history. In the beginning, we started organizing in only one field in 2003. Yazawa.
Yazava, not
This is-
Yazami.
I don't want to miss
Not
my life.
Yazawa.
Uh-huh.
I tell you.
Okay, you tell me. Don't worry.
You have to leave by 2 or 1:30. So,
1:30. Okay.
So Yazawa International Symposium, which it was about 2003,
Uh-huh.
and his professor is in non-ferrous copper, especially.
Okay.
He was a professor in copper. However, in 2003, I included iron and steel people. I included many recycling people.
Uh-huh.
The first time, then people were surprised, although it was not called SIPS in 2003, we called it later, a year later. But Professor Yazawa, as a copper specialist, saw that this symposium became with sessions in iron and steel, in recycling, in precious metals, etc. So this is the start of everything in 2003 in San Diego, California. And then the next year, we named it Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit. Now, many people are using sustainability, but it's just one of the subjects of conferences, not the focus of the conference. So why all scientists together? Because I always say that everything science has been diverging all over the history. Chemistry, organic, inorganic, physics, and mathematics, etc., going this way. And there is no intersection point. You have to be lucky to find out what mathematicians are doing, what the physicists are doing to use in your technology, what this is doing, what this is doing. So because it's converging. So there is a need of synergy, there is a need of cooperation. That is the idea to bring them together in one roof for synergy. So from batteries, we go to heart.
Yeah, it might look completely. I mean,
Well,
doctors
that's
need
not-
physics.
That's not completely you see. So if there would not have been medicine symposium here, that's a chance would not have come through in any way.
Yeah.
3 medical symposia here.
Just move inside because of the
Okay,
camera there.
So this is SIPS, meaning this new cooperation that I'm hearing here between battery specialist and the doctor in heart failure
Yes.
would not have been happen if this medicine symposia and battery symposia would not have been in the same room.
Exactly. And a good example of this is Professor Jean-Marie Dubois. I had the honor of knowing you in Rio de Janeiro, interviewing you in Rio de Janeiro, and talking to you ever since. Yes, a couple of times.
In pre-COVID times.
Pre-COVID times. And the world changed with COVID, and here we are, as Dr. Florence said, as survivors. How can you compare all the SIPs you've been to this one? How do you rank this one? Was this the best one you saw? Was this
The best one like this, I don't know, because I was focused on the symposium I was organizing. But for sure, it was the most difficult to organize. This Florian, I'm sure Florian spent a tremendous amount of time to cancel and do it. And this year he did it very well. I was amazed to see the number of symposia.
We had 50, right?
15.
11 parallel sessions.
11.
They are
Okay.
normal 50
Subsession.
symposia, which are in different, the same room but different.
I see.
Which shows the interest of the people. And I was very happy to see a famous astronomer to talk about exoplanets.
Because you
Yeah.
see there.
I was talking,
this
yeah.
is-
Mars
It
opposition.
was not on purpose.
I was talking to
It was not on purpose. This is one of the very rare T-shirts left in my suitcase.
I see.
It was not totally wet. But
And I was talking to him. He's talking to Professor Didier Queloz.
Queloz,
Yes, and I was mentioning him before you came in, because we had a 10 to 15 minute private class, only me and Florian, and he was talking about life in other planets. Remember? And this was fantastic. I mean,
And to understand better what is global warming, we need to understand the other planets. I'm sure. So starting with Venus.
yes.
Why is Venus so hot? Why is Mars dry? All these problems, they are all linked to global warming, and there was a lot of talks in the symposium I organized that was in the honor of Uichiro Mizutani, who is a pure theoretician. He talked about electrons in metals, but there is a direct application to thermoelectricity, and the guys from Japan, the colleagues from Japan who came, they gave very good papers on the progress of thermoelectricity. And for me, this is a hope to substitute for photovoltaics and more so for windmills. This is another source of green energy, and they made very tremendous progress on this. So to avoid to make batteries with lithium.
No, you cannot.
Because
You need the batteries
you need to
store.
store.
You
You
need
need
to
to
store
store
the
your
energy.
you need to store the energy.
So again, you get.
No.
But okay, now they are now going to sodium
Yes.
and to sulfur.
Yes.
So it's okay. But there was found the people in the north of Alsace, less than 200 kilometers from my place, they found lithium.
Huge amount.
And
Yes.
it's a kind of new El Dorado
Yes.
in Western world.
You got very happy with that.
Well, I mean, it's good for France.
Yes.
Because they said we don't have. I don't know what is. On n'a pas de en France.
We have no oil.
Yes.
No oil.
No
oil.
oil. We have no
Yeah.
oil, but we have lithium.
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
For 2 or 3 decades, we had only ideas.
Yes, ideas.
Okay.
Nice. So, coming back to the question, it was difficult to organize. We had a very significant number of people who just did not decide to come, and last minute cancellations. So the symposium, to put some flesh on it,
we had two in the exam symposium. One was diagnosed with COVID. The other one had his father died.
death in the family.
Yes.
So this guy.
But this happened all the time. But COVID was.
But COVID in Japan.
And I remember, so sorry to interrupt you, Professor Summary, but last week I was in Amsterdam on my connection flight, and we talked for like 15 minutes on SIPS of Science. Our last SIPS of Science was unusual also, yes, but something that caught my attention. Florian was very emotional, yes, and you know him, yeah, but he said, no. He said something that caught my attention, caught my eye. We made it. I mean, because it seemed like, and I remember, if we speak now without a historic context, I mean, the world really stopped. I remember me and Florian We talked right after the pandemic, April 2020, May 2020. Those first 2 months, you even wrote a paper about this, about COVID, about the mistakes of COVID, yes, the failures of COVID.
March 2020.
March 20, right after it was. I really recommend. We are going to have the link to this paper posted here in the description of the video. We are not going to talk about it because it's not the focus, but it's a very interesting article. It's going to be posted. The link here. But I remember.
Which 95% of the prediction came from.
Exactly, and basically more than that, the world lived such a big crisis that we said nobody knows what's going to happen with the world in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It seemed like impossible, and we found the solution through science. So science made us possible to be here talk about science.
Science create the problem and solve it somehow, because the origin of this virus is still unknown, but we suspect where it comes from.
Well,
it was from maybe some kind of leak or something from scientific centers.
This is surprising what you say, that science is in a way a solution to predict the future.
Mm-hmm.
But the real progress in science is when it is not predicted.
Yes.
When you find
exactly something.
When in my case, of course, it's easy. So there were mathematical demonstrations that the solid is either disordered or periodically ordered. Mm-hmm. And Chessman found quasicrystals, which is just a contradiction with this. So
Both extremes.
So it's a change in paradigm which has produced a lot of science in material science, but also in arts and many other fields. So it's very, very surprising that science is there to reassure you, to say, okay, everything is under control, and suddenly you lose control.
Exactly.
I fully agree with Jean-Marie, because in the field of batteries, the invention of lithium-ion batteries was not predicted at all.
It just happened.
No, I mean, when I did the first experiment on graphite, I wasn't thinking of batteries at all. I was just trying to put lithium into graphite in a battery, in a cell. And then it became
why
the purpose is science, to understand what happens when you put lithium into graphite, the storage of lithium into graphite.
So it was in storage.
Yes. So, but I was thinking about I wasn't thinking about a system, a battery. My basic question.
Then you observed something.
So we observed, and the video I showed the change in color and so on.
I remember that video. Yeah,
exactly
your lecture.
And then now.
So it was not done for the purpose of storage.
At the beginning, it was not done to make a battery, but of course, once it took us like 1 month to realize that this discovery can be applied in a battery. It took us like a month or so to realize. I mean, at the beginning we did it. So now to go the same direction as Jean-Marie, people put calculation on paper. If I put sodium, I put sulfur, I put oxygen, I put this and this, I have the best battery in the world. And then they do the work, and then it doesn't work. So billions of dollars have been spent on the so-called solid-state lithium batteries. Billions, because on paper it will be much better, 2 times the amount of energy. But when you think it will work, something is hidden, and it doesn't work. But it doesn't mean it will. Excuse me?
In the practice.
In the practice, exactly, in the practice. It means today, although, industry has spent, I would say, at least $50 billion worldwide to develop the solid-state lithium batteries, we don't have cars running with these batteries yet. It may come.
Will we have any day? Will we have eventually?
We don't know. We don't know. It's difficult because, again, you calculate, you find the calculations are correct, predictions are correct. But in reality, something hidden you don't expect, and that opens another venue for science, for research. Why is not working? And then you try to solve the problem.
You're going to say something.
No, I let Jean-Marie here on this.
Okay.
No, it's
sorry.
Nowadays science is financed on the basis of projects. So you write
Proposals.
a proposal, takes you 10 pages. Then you apply for a certain amount of money because you have an idea, and you state what is the state of the art, and if this works, I will get to this result. And my recommendation to the young scientists is always apply for money for results which you already know.
This is
Bring
great.
on.
Again. Pay attention. This is a 1 million. This is a
Advice.
$1 million advice. Go ahead.
So do your research, store some results, then apply for those results, but of course do not say that you have.
Yes.
Okay.
Then you get some money. Since it is solved, you can have the deliverables, the milestones, and whatever, and use that money to search for something new.
Good.
So the difficulty is to start the process. But
Guys,
but
write that down.
it's
Write that down. This is
it's
a
a look, because if you say to the evaluators, well, you know, something is not clear, and I don't know exactly how to do it, but maybe there's
This idea.
you will never succeed.
we have to have an interview specifically about that because that's $1 million
But
suggestion.
nobody can be a member of a jury to evaluate
Yeah,
proposals.
exactly.
He knows that.
And with that suggestion, sorry, Professor.
This is project engineering.
This is project. And with that suggestion in hand, we are getting to the end of SIPS of Science, this special edition, directly from Hilton Phuket, Arcadia. I would like to thank you very much, Professor Jean-Marie.
If I may, last thing.
Yes, okay.
Suggestion to the FlowGen
Uh-huh.
project. Please think about having an institute, FlowGen Institute, where people can interact.
We were
Because
talking about
it was a chance
we were
to meet
talking
this guy.
about this.
But if we have an institute which is without walls, it's just everybody is in their place, virtual institute, and get people to chat. You know,
A permanent forum.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like together.
Very
you know,
good idea.
Yes,
Yeah.
to have an
And
institute.
then I agree to contribute to the selection of the fellows.
Sure. Fellow for the institute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And if I may suggest, just to tip in, you know, I'm a big fan, Dr. Florian. Yes, we've been working very closely for 5 to 6 years. Yes, and I'm a big fan. And instead of FlowGen, I would name it Florian Congoli Institute because I know that it's. But consider that.
Whatever.
I think Professor Jean-Marie,
the
what
World
do you think about this?
Sustainability Institute. The World Sustainability
Do you prefer
Institute.
FlowGen or Florian Congoli Institute?
No, this is up to Florian.
Yeah, it's up to Florian.
It's a good idea anyway.
I myself, I spent a good decade on creating a new institute
I see.
with walls.
With walls.
With walls.
For a certain budget. And the decisive step to raise the interest of the politicians who give the money
Yes.
was to select the name. And
Select the name of
the institute.
the institute. Okay.
So we were thinking for the name of somebody
Some scientists.
famous but not still alive.
Yes.
And there was no solution. And the idea I got, because at that time the spirit locally was to put together art, science, technology, and management.
Fantastic.
And I said, hey, we call it Jean Lamour. Jean Lamour is very famous in Nancy because this is the guy who produced the grits of the Place Stanislas, which you made movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And this gentleman forging iron, this is metallurgy. Plating with gold is treatment. And even if you look carefully, gold does not mix with iron.
Yes.
So it forms nanograins. If you put some gold on top of a flat surface of iron, you get nanograins of gold. So this is nanotechnologies, nanosciences, which is also. So the three strong points of the institute were hidden behind the name, Institut Jean Lamour. And with this, just with starting to put a name, to christen what you want to do, this is a big difference.
And
Very-
l'amour in French is love.
Love, yes.
And Florian is flower. It's fantastic.
Yes.
So all very good. So it's all positive names.
Well, let's study. As we are having in first hand here, the possibility of the creation of an institute to
Fantastic.
continue. Fantastic.
I'm
And
glad.
from this magnificent paradise, well, from this magnificent paradise we have back here, from Phuket, Thailand, I would like to thank everybody for viewing this, everybody for participating, all the attendees and speakers and sponsors and participants, everybody that has contributed. And I would like to make a special thank, Florian, to the team you have. Yes, most of your team I've met only online before, and I would like to congratulate them personally. So the SIPS couldn't have been the success that it has been if it weren't for. I'm going to mention only 3 of the team. There are more. Yeah. But you help me. I'm going to mention 3. So I would like Trisha. Yes. Nick.
Yes.
And Claude, that are present. But you have a bigger team. You have it's over 50 people involved and all that. So if you want to mention some more names, but in the names of 3, okay, go ahead.
So, all the team.
All the team, but on behalf of all the team, as these 3 are represented here. So congratulations to you all for a fantastic job you've done. Okay, SIPS wouldn't have been possible without them. Do you agree?
Of course.
Yes. So
Come on.
here I've got
People working
3
behind the curtain.
3 of the greatest minds in the world agreeing with me, so I'm very happy with that. I don't say so many nonsense things about science after all. And with this in mind, I would like to thank you, everybody, because each one of you, because if we do have SIPS of Science today, and if we do promote science and technology as means for sustainability, it's thanks to your support. So broadcasting directly from Phuket in Thailand, from this magnificent resort, Hilton Phuket Arcadia, I'm Mario Linhares, and I say goodbye. Next week we're back with more SIPS of Science. Meanwhile, enjoy the video. Thank you very much, Professor. Professor, thank you. And Dr. Florian.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's unique. I think no other journalist in the world interviews so many geniuses.
You also
like
did
me.
a great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mario.
That's it, guys. See
Bye-bye.
you. See you in Brazil. I have a plane to catch. Be careful here with this
Yeah,
spear
yeah.
step.